Back to another YouTube video. It's your boy Riot G. Today we're gonna react to 10 shocking WWE upsets that led to absolutely nothing. We're gonna react to 10 shocking WWE upsets that led to absolutely nothing. Let's get right into the video. Come on, let's click it.
Listen up, football fans.
We have an advertisement to start off. That usually happens.
Our shocking upset in WWE should lead to the victor receiving a major boost in star power and being pushed dramatically up the card. Unfortunately, this doesn't always happen in WWE. In these instances, these huge upsets over top stars went absolutely nowhere. Join us now as WrestleMania looks at 10 of the biggest WWE upsets that led to absolutely nothing. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 10, Austin Theory versus John Cena. Now, Austin Theory was virtually handpicked by...
Yeah, because everybody wanted Cena to win this match. Okay, I watched this match live on Peacock. And yeah, Austin Theory, he's a good heel. I can definitely say that he played his character really well. He was the next up guy, which they're talking about pushing him as a face now. So let's see what they do now with that. But that's besides the point. Let's continue the vid.
Vince McMahon to be the next John Cena. So a match between Theory and Cena made all the sense in the world. By the time WWE delivered the match at WrestleMania 39, there was already consensus that Theory wasn't ready for a main event spot. And this was supported by WWE booking him to fail his cash in on the US title no less, and Cena outright burying him in a promo before the show. Now, the match itself was nothing special, and despite Theory picking up the W, it didn't really benefit him in any way, shape, or form.
Not only that, he retained his title. I mean, it is a little milestone, because, you know what I'm saying, he beat Cena on the grandest stage of them all.
In fact, he basically disappeared off television afterwards, and it was a complete waste that WWE put Theory over as one of the biggest stars of all time. Austin Theory reflected on a winner during an interview with Chris Van Vliet. He mentioned, yeah, I get it because he wants everybody to believe that I don't have it, that I'm screwed. But that is a man that says that because when he looks in my eyes, he knows that I have everything. I do. He has a legacy. He has so much. Everybody knows John Cena. He's the top of the top. I think when he looks at me and sees that I'm 25 and he sees them at the level that I'm on and the things that I'm doing and the level that I'm growing at, I can't be touched. I really can't be. So you have to look into my eyes and tell me that if I beat you, that I'll lose everything. But we all know that's wrong, John. Why, if it means nothing, does he even want to have this match? He wants to have this match because I'm the most important thing in WWE. Theory felt that he was the most important thing in WWE at the time. In recent months, it's become a running joke that Theory went from defeating Cena to being obsolete and a non-factor on WWE television. And luckily for Theory, he's still young, so he still has a chance to rebuild himself. But there's no denying that WWE handled the fallout of his WrestleMania win in the worst possible way. Number 9, Money in the Bank 2020. Now, heading into the Money in the Bank ladder match in 2020, WWE had numerous options when it came to the men's winner, including AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. However, WWE oddly went with Otis, which was one of the more surprising matches.
Yeah. This is like a confusing booking video where we don't know why this happened. Do you guys know why this happened?
Outcomes of the past decade. Absolutely nobody expected Otis to win the match. And whilst there was no denying that Otis was over with the crowd, he was just a comedy act at the time, so it was hard to imagine him as potentially being a world champion. It was subsequently reported that WWE wanted to capitalize on his popularity, and due to the event taking place during the COVID-19 pandemic, it would act as an unexpected moment that would generate buzz. Sadly for Otis, it was apparent in the weeks and months that followed that he was never going to win the world title with the briefcase. He was still presented as a comedy act, and even Otis himself during an interview with Chris Van Vliet admitted there was absolutely no plan in motion. I don't think there was a plan. Nah, I don't. The WWE would eventually decide to pivot and go with The Miz as Mr. Money in the Bank. The former WWE champion would defeat Otis on pay-per-view to win the briefcase, and Otis would unfortunately fall severely down the card. This was yet another case of Vince McMahon booking something out of nowhere for just shock value, but having no plan in place afterwards. He clearly had zero intention of having Otis as world champion or even a main event talent, so why on earth would he put the briefcase on him in the first place? It made
Would he be a good world champion in your guys' eyes? I think he could, maybe, but it wouldn't be so long where they just decide to just take it off of him, you know.
zero logical sense. Number 8, The Undertaker versus Kozlov. On the road to WrestleMania 25, WWE decided to have Vladimir Kozlov defeat the legendary Undertaker clean on SmackDown. The victory sent shockwaves through the WWE fanbase as the dead man rarely lost, and fans questioned if Kozlov was the right man to pick up the win over the icon himself. You gotta think at the time, The Undertaker rarely had any clean defeats against him. Now, it was reported that WWE were considering having a rematch between the two at WrestleMania 25, and naturally the report received significant backlash, as absolutely nobody wanted
Shoot, I think he should have got pushed. I think he should come back. Let him come back at the Royal Rumble and just get a couple eliminations in. Maybe he could be a part-time, full-time, and they can give him a mid-card title like Intercontinental. It's like a Rusev gimmick a little bit.
see the match again. It was almost as if the negative reaction to the Kozlov win changed WWE's standing on them, as he went from being rumored for the Undertaker match at WrestleMania to being left off the card.
See, the last time we saw him on television is when Mark Henry had the Hall of Pain and he injured Vladimir Kozlov on SmackDown really bad. Like, he put the chair on his leg and I think he tore his ACL, or I don't know. It put him out of action.
Entirely. This win could have been saved for a wrestler that fans wanted to see in the main event position, but this came at a time when WWE were insistent on making Kozlov a major player in the company. Number 7, Heath Slater versus Seth Rollins. Now, Heath Slater was fairly popular during his time in WWE, and he was widely regarded as one of the more underrated workers in the company. When Heath Slater pinned top WWE star Seth Rollins on Raw in 2014, fans had hoped that this would actually lead to a sustained push for Slater, but that wasn't what happened. Slater quickly found himself back on WWE main event before he knew it, making the huge moment a complete waste of everyone's time. Now, it's always appreciated when WWE delivers a moment like this, especially when the talent has major potential. But if there's no plan in place to push that talent, it's ultimately a wasted time and is going to have no benefits to anyone involved. Number 6, Tyler Breeze versus Dolph Ziggler. Fans were excited for Tyler Breeze on the
main this was like 2015 or something like that.
Roster in 2015.
Yeah.
Breeze had a stellar run in NXT and he was one of the strongest in-ring workers in the company. WWE were going all in on Breeze, so much so that they had him defeat former world champion Dolph Ziggler at the 2015 Survivor Series. But this is where things actually started to go wrong for him. Breeze had upset WWE management mainly due to him leaving a SmackDown taping early, and this actually led to him falling out of favor in WWE. Tyler Breeze went from
I did not know he walked out on a SmackDown.
Beating a former world champion to not being booked on the show at all, and he was never the same again. Number 5, Solo Sikoa versus John Cena. During John Cena's final few extended runs in WWE, he was keen to put over talent left, right, and center. And at Crown Jewel 2023, John Cena decided to put over Solo Sikoa in the most convincing manner imaginable. But one of the problems was that the match was heavily panned. The two had negative chemistry in the ring, and despite the win, Sikoa didn't exactly look ready for the big time. WWE evidently realized this, as instead of capitalizing off the biggest victory of Solo's career, they decided to have him go on an extended losing streak. A losing streak that became a running joke on social media. The streak would be so significant that he would have 39 losses and 2 no contests. Sikoa would finally end the losing streak on Friday Night SmackDown after defeating Kevin Owens, his first televised win since his match with John Cena. Number 4, Barry Horowitz versus Skip. Now, Barry Horowitz was WWE's resident jobber, and when he pinned Skip at the 1995 SummerSlam, it appeared that WWE decided to move Horowitz out of his jobber role. Unfortunately, that wasn't what happened. Horowitz would even make the Survivor Series card in 1995, but he was pinned in a traditional matchup and soon found himself back to being a jobber again. Number 3, Fandango versus Chris Jericho. When Chris Jericho found out he'd be working with Fandango at WrestleMania 29...
Yeah, he didn't... I'm pretty sure Chris Jericho didn't think he was gonna have to put Fandango over. He was probably upset about that.
Totally livid. It was a call with The Undertaker that influenced the wrestling legend to take the match, and in typical Jericho fashion, he gave it his all. Jericho would put over Fandango in the match, and to WWE's credit,
Here we go with the advertisements. At least it's skippable.
Fandango, well, specifically his song, was one of the most popular things to come out of that year's WrestleMania. Sadly, a concussion derailed any plans for a serious push for him, and a reported Intercontinental title win was scrapped from the creative plans. When Fandango eventually returned to television, it wasn't the same. Fans had lost
So he was supposed to get a push. He was supposed to win the IC title or something.
interest in him as a character. This was one of the biggest upsets in WrestleMania history, and it was a massive shame that it led to nothing of significance. Number 2, John Cena vs. Lord Tensai. Now, upon signing Matt Bloom to a WWE deal in 2012, WWE wanted to position Bloom, who would now be known as Lord Tensai, as a top heel on Raw. To achieve this, they would have Bloom defeat notable names including John Cena and CM Punk. These victories should in theory have helped propel Tensai and establish him to the audience as a top heel. But the problem was that fans just couldn't stop shouting Albert at him at every single match, and it became a great distraction as a viewer. According to a report from PW Insider at the time, Vince McMahon decided to give up on several characters, and Tensai was one of those names. We noted before that Vince McMahon had reportedly soured on the Brodus Clay character, and gimmick changes may be coming for the big man. The same thing is being said about Tensai. WWE officials had big hopes for Tensai when he returned to WWE earlier this year, but plans for his push have been nixed. The WWE had such grand plans for Tensai that a WWE title run was heavily rumored. WWE would then make a pivot after a major win over Cena, and Cena would soon find himself in a feud with The Big Show, a feud that most fans believed was destined for Tensai. Tensai had a major fall from grace following the Cena win, as it wasn't just a case of him not being featured as a main eventer. He was quickly relegated to being a glorified jobber.
Yeah, because they changed his name to, I think, what was it, Sweet Tea or something like that? It was something.
Just a few months later, he was dancing in comedic segments on Raw. And number 1, AJ Styles vs. Jackson Ryker. During Vince McMahon's final few years running WWE, he had an obsession with pushing a random talent for a few weeks, before dropping the push altogether. One of these pushes came in 2021 when he suddenly decided that Jackson Ryker was going to be a huge WWE star. Ryker had done little to impress fans, and they were totally baffled when he was suddenly receiving significant television time. This came to a head on Raw when WWE decided to have Ryker defeat the legendary AJ Styles in a featured match. This decision led to a lot of controversy online, with fans questioning what McMahon was thinking. Did WWE have any long-term plans for Ryker after this monumental win? Well, of course not. The best they could come up with was a TV feud with Elias that resulted in 0 memorable matches, before Ryker was then relegated to WWE main event to spend the rest of his...
So, yeah, I mean, stuff like this happens, you know. Wrestlers get their spotlight, they get pushed a little bit, and then they get dropped back down.
WWE tenure. But this was during a time period where there were so many talented names in the company, such as Ricochet and Andrade, who weren't even getting a push, but McMahon would just give huge victories to names that fans had no interest in seeing. It was almost as if
He beat Jeff Hardy clean on Raw, and he beat AJ Styles clean on Raw.
McMahon believed that he knew what fans wanted, but this was rarely the case, particularly during this era of WWE. It was certainly a frustrating time to be a WWE fan, and it was completely understandable why so many fans were leaving the product behind. But there you have it, folks. 10 big
That was 10 shocking WWE upsets that led to absolutely nothing. You guys tell me what you guys want to see next in the comments down below. I got more videos coming. Stay tuned, subscribe, like, comment. And yeah, Uriah out.